Hello. What things do Americans like in the rest of the world? Not so much. College sports, particularly football and basketball, which this, of course, is American football. The rest of the world loves soccer, but nobody gives a hoot about it at the university level. I do find that kind of fascinating. You would honestly, I would have thought that people would be interested to see the up-and-comers. It's the most rabid, American football fans and basketball fans that are looking at the college sports. And honestly, even actually without the rabid fans, they have a large fan base comprised mostly of like people who live near that university. But I don't know, to me that's kind of intuitive. Like it makes sense. You're a huge fan of the sport on like a national level. Why are you not a fan of it on like a more local level? It's a different pipeline. Oh, U.S. college teams contain players that will go professional. Whereas if you're good enough to play pro in football, you are already playing at 18. That's an excellent explanation. That actually makes perfect sense because, like, for example, with baseball, and I guess other sports as well, but baseball stands out in that there are leagues of players who are almost as good as professionals. They're not college. They're not professional. They are professionals, but they're not like, the top tier league. And they're just not very popular at all, which is an interesting phenomenon. I think it's because they're lacking what this guy is saying. Like, they're probably not going to make it to the major leagues, so people just aren't as interested in watching them. But also, they aren't playing for a college. I don't know about Europe, but here in America, like, for a lot of people, the college they attend is their identity to a big extent. So they're like rabid fans of that college, so they cheer for the team. And even long after attending the college, they remain a fan of the team. Root beer and ranch dressing. I brought some to Germany and had my friends try it, and they said the root beer tasted like medicine. That I could see. Same with Dr. Pepper. I don't know if you guys like Dr. Pepper, but I love Dr. Pepper, but it does taste like medicine, which could be absolutely off-putting. Sometimes, in fact, even when I'm drinking Dr. Pepper, and I love Dr. Pepper, but sometimes I'll be like, this kind of tastes like medicine. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I think I'm going to switch it up. Anyway, root beer. I also love root beer, but it does have a weird taste. They politely tasted the dressing with a celery and said, interesting, but the look on their face said it was terrible. I feel like if they thought it was terrible, since they're German, they would have told you. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the intuition I get. Like, I think they probably didn't love it, but they did maybe think it was interesting. I've had, as far as like people from outside America that I've seen try ranch, I've only ever seen 2. But they did both like it. I come at it from a kind of a weird perspective because I actually used to not eat ranch myself for decades. I didn't eat ranch for whatever reason. I was just a picky eater. I never tried ranch until I was like 25. So I have kind of an unbiased view on it, and it's good. And if anything, I was biased toward the negative because I used to think it was disgusting. Just because, I don't know, I was very picky. Germans are great like that. My German friend met me in New York one evening. I bought us some bubble teas. He sipped his politely. Some bubble tea. I guess that's like the Korean thing, right? With the no bubbles in it. He sipped his politely, then we stopped by his hotel for a moment and his bubble tea disappeared. A few minutes later, he said, I have to confess, I did not like the bubble. My sister is visiting the US from Europe and sent me a picture of a small Coke and asked, why is it so big? I could see Old Glory flapping in the wind, boys. This is a weird thing I noticed too. I didn't go to fast food places much, but the last time I did, I ordered a large drink and got this enormous cup. I asked what the small looked like, and that was literally the cup, which was considered a large back in the 1980s. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was driving around with a giant cup of soda from the gas station. Huge. You guys would... I'm trying to find... it's the kind where it's like skinny enough at the bottom to go in the cup holder, then it goes out and that's probably a uniquely American phenomenon. It was basically like that, okay? Anyway, I was driving I had it in the cup holder, and I was taking a turn kind of fast, and I actually had the thought that my cup might break because there's so much soda in it. It's so heavy, and it's this foam cup. And going around this turn, the centripetal force or whatever was gonna, like, I could feel it like pulling that foam cup. Ice filled to the brim before you pour any drink. Yeah, that is true, and it is kind of odd. I myself actually used to think this was odd. People fill the entire cup up with ice. That's how people prefer it. I used to be a real freaking cheapskate to where I was like, no, I'm not putting any ice in. I'm just going to fill it with straight drink. Of course, that's kind of like, that's usually unnecessary here in America because there's free refills usually. Anyway, yes, that is a thing. Thought you were talking about the Border Patrol. Cheerleaders. It's an interesting concept, huh? Certainly not the worst thing about America, right? Am I right? Maybe a little bit objectifying. Okay, I'll take that. It's true. But, of course, it's not like they're coerced to sign up to be cheerleaders. It's considered cool. I mean, if you think about it too deep, it's like a little bit weird that there's like middle school cheerleaders. I don't know. I guess it's only weird if you think of it like in a weird way. It's one of those things. Interestingly, it's become almost kind of like its own sport. It's basically like gymnastics, but combined with like, I don't know. It's like group gymnastics, but with an artful twist. Bankruptcy laws. It's a major reason why America has historically had some of the highest rates of small business growth and entrepreneurship. America is one of the most forgiving countries when it comes to personal and corporate bankruptcy. That's a really cool thing, is it not? Yeah, that's... wow. I don't know about bankruptcy in Europe, actually. Comparatively, European countries are much more pro-creditor, which severely hampers any sort of investment that's even somewhat risky. It is a very interesting concept. And in an interesting way, when you think about it, like it is actually a big social safety net. Like considering America doesn't have a good social safety net in a lot of areas, bankruptcy, I mean, let me say this. If you're going to have exorbitantly expensive health care, the least you can do is have some good bankruptcy laws, which we do. It's like a little silver lining. Of course, going bankrupt is not anybody's goal. It's not necessarily a good outcome. Prefer not to have to do that. But certainly with businesses and taking business risks, like trying to be an entrepreneur, that's an excellent thing indeed. Because you can form like an LLC, your own little company, and then personally, you don't even have to declare bankruptcy. Just your company declares bankruptcy, and personally, you're not liable. They used to be much more prevalent in the U.S., but food coloring. When I moved from Japan to the U.S., I was surprised at how colorful their food was. That must be kind of off-putting. It's funny how, to me, growing up here my whole life, I think nothing of it. But moving here, it must look like toxic waste. You're like, why is that food glowing? These days, Americans are now more keen to organic, natural stuff, so I see it less. It is true we have certainly trended in that direction. And there are like entire aisles at grocery stores dedicated to like organic stuff. So that's good. Like if you do want the organic stuff, it is available. Root beer again. It's weird that keeps getting brought up. Like to me, root beer is just another soda flavor. It's like orange soda, Coke, Sprite, root beer. Like what's so weird about root beer? It tastes good. Especially diet root beer. I mean, it's not like diet root beer is better than not diet root beer, but as far as diet sodas, diet root beer, I don't know how they do it, but it tastes almost exactly the same as normal root beer, which I guess isn't, that doesn't help if you hate root beer, but for me, I love it. I'm Irish and I've never lived in the U.S., but I've been there a few times on holidays and for business. I effing love root beer! Let's go! 24-hour stores. I was in Chicago working with a colleague from Switzerland who suddenly realized around midnight that he needed a network cable to configure a mobile router for a job the next morning. I told him that I'd meet him in the hotel lobby to drive him out to Walmart. He was happily surprised, as he had forgotten about the U.S.'s famous chain of Walmart stores. Yeah, certainly very convenient. Ugly, but convenient. And of course, they're bad for small businesses, but they are convenient. As far as from like a consumer point of view, I mean, as far as like a consumer, like a Walmart is kind of sad only because you lose a diversity of, small independent stores, that has a very important charm to it. Whereas the Walmart is just very convenient. And, the whole like business model that underpins Walmart is this idea that like, you shouldn't even, as an American, you don't even have to think about where to go for anything. You can go to Walmart. Food, hardware, paint, auto parts, anything you need, toys, whatever, you can go to Walmart. It's always open. It's gonna be the cheapest price. That's the thing that I do think is like interesting about Walmart. Now, I wouldn't recommend working at Walmart. I did work at Walmart. It was fine because I was just doing it for like a summer job, and But as far as working there for more than a summer job, or even for the summer job, it was pretty shit. But there's no reason to work at a Walmart. Don't do it. Handicap accessibility. Old towns in Europe are nice if both your legs work. Oh, a little bit of handicap accessibility love. Yeah, that is an interesting aspect of America. Kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like would be unexpected. Like America is unexpectedly accessible to handicap because it's in the laws everywhere. Everywhere has to be handicap accessible for like the most part. Any stairs has either an elevator or a ramp to get up. Peanut butter and jelly. Huh. I kind of forgot that was American. It doesn't help that outside of the US, jelly often means gelatin, like Jell-O. Oh, that would not be good. Never mind the absurdity of biscuits and gravy. Freaking love biscuits and gravy, man. That actually is kind of a Midwest Southern thing, biscuits and gravy. Even me as an Easterner originally, I was quite shocked at the idea of biscuits and gravy. Of course, I know that you guys mean that because biscuits to you is cookies. So yeah, it doesn't work. It's a scone and gravy, right? Goddamn delis. At least out of all the places I've traveled to the US, has by far the best delis. Okay. We don't have the best bakeries in general, but the best delis, especially in like New York. I don't know if I can live somewhere without a great Jewish or Italian deli. Free public restrooms. I know they're gross, but they're nice to have. Absolutely. And when you do find a clean one, that's pretty special. Now, of course, they've got the gaps in the doors and at the bottom, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, I definitely like not paying to poop. Big trucks. Yep. Especially, once again, in the South and in the Midwest, big trucks. Once again, as an Easterner, I came here and I was like, holy shit, everybody has a truck. Opinion signs outside their houses. Like, in this house, we support. That's funny. I can see how that would be weird. Yeah, that is weird, huh? It's kind of funny also because it's not like every house has this, but it's not uncommon. Probably 1 out of 20 houses has something like that. And I mean, it is a little bit weird, but also, yeah, I am used to that. People here, a lot of people don't really like shy away from their political views. Like you'll see flags, Trump flags usually, on the back of a giant pickup truck, a giant 5 foot, like 1.5 meter diagonal Trump flag. That's not a joke. Like you'll see that here in Indiana, at least once in a while. Now, they used to be more common. I think it's an interesting thing that I have noticed they are fading. Americanized Chinese food. No one has us beaten that category. Okay. It's kind of funny because it was Americanized by Chinese people. You know what I mean? It's not like Americans tried to make Chinese food. It's Chinese people came here and said, these Americans, let's make some new shit for them. All right, that was actually very fascinating. Kind of surprisingly positive, I'm really not used to that a lot of times. So that was kind of pleasant for me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.